sector will be maintained.
Someone's got to develop a product that you and I as a consumer are going to want to buy.
The country needs a comprehensive energy plan. We don't know how long this will last.
Welcome to For the Record. I'm Jed Donahue. Our guest today is Russ, who just completed his 32nd year as head coach of Penn State women's volleyball. They also won their unprecedented 4th consecutive national championship with straight set win over the University of California. Coach Rose, a member of the American Volleyball Coaches Association Hall of Fame, 5 national championships overall, 13 Big Ten championships, and just an incredible resume. Congratulations. It's really good to see you, and I know it's been kind of a whirlwind, maybe beginning to the off season, but 5 national championships overall. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for you guys after that amazing, 3rd straight. Now you've got 4 in a row. Wow.
Yeah, how about that? Who'd have thought that?
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you'd ever get a collection of student athletes that would be around to be cobbled together 4 consecutive national championships, considering one is so difficult to win?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you always look at what it's going to take to have a good program, and then you try and go year by year. And we certainly had a great stretch of great players, and this year was maybe different than some of the previous years because in the previous years, the last 3 years, we were picked to win the championship, and people looked at you like if you didn't win, that you somehow, fumbled the play away. Where, this year maybe we're not the favorite, and we had some struggles throughout the season, but found ourselves in a position where you could win, and I think if the goal is to win, then that's got to be the goal.
Well, especially when you got to the national semifinals, and it just seemed like everything just came together for you at the right time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we had a favorable draw, and a couple of teams were upset in the tournament, and having the first 2 rounds at home gave us an advantage. But probably the best advantage was that we were home for 2 of the last 3 weekends in the regular season, and I think the kids were, if anything, were healthy physically. Some of them were still struggling with just the challenges of its final exam week. But I think we really were able to taper a little bit at the end, and the kids were physically able to go.
What has transformed Penn State? I mean, it's not like Pepperdine where we're on the beach or something, right? I mean, the perception of volleyball, warm weather. How has it become like the women's capital for volleyball? The men have an incredible program. I mean, this is it. University Park, Pennsylvania, for women's and men's volleyball.
Yeah, there you go. And certainly up the mountain over there in Juniata as well. They both won men's and women's championships. So, well, I mean, in our case, I think it's, the support that you need to be successful has really come from the administration. The fact that they're willing to support the program and support me and allow me to conduct the program in the way that I see fit. But in the end, it always comes down to the players. And we've been able to attract players that want to be good and want to have a good team. And, I would say if I was to be, what am I most proud of, it would be more along the lines that we could build a volleyball program here in central Pennsylvania where we're competing with people from all over the country to get players to come here to do it. If we were in an area that had great players around, it would make it easier to get those players. It would still be hard to win, but we've had some challenges as well trying to just get kids to come to Penn State.
Yeah, football and basketball recruiting, they always get the publicity and things. How do you find players, for women's volleyball? Kind of take us inside that a little bit. I mean, you're looking for student athletes that are going to be able to handle the academic standards and things along those lines, and we'll get into that a little bit later on, but where do you find players? How do you find out about them?
Well, I mean, it's probably no different. Basketball, we're probably more similar to basketball because the USA volleyball junior circuit is similar to AAU basketball in that there's major tournaments throughout the springtime. So every weekend in the spring, we have 1 or 2 coaches out going to big tournaments. I went to a tournament where there were 50 teams last week, and I think my assistant was in Texas this week, and probably 100 teams. And then later in the year, we'll go to some qualifiers where there'll be upwards of 600 or 700 teams. So, in situations like that, there's a lot of players. Mm-hmm. But there's not a lot of players that can help the top teams, and everybody knows who the top players are. And You know, in some cases you have to go just sit on their court to let them see that you're there, and in other cases, you know, you try and find some kid out there that other people haven't picked up on. So I think everybody looks at different things. So, you know, I remember I teach an ethics class, and I had one of the football coaches in, and he commented that they like to recruit kids that have great character, and I kind of said to myself, maybe that's why we're having success, because I like to recruit kids that are characters.
Yeah, I don't know, so. Penn State, the mantra success with honor is something that all the coaches and the student athletes take with great pride. This isn't on my rundown, but you go to one of these tournaments, you've won 4 in a row. Are you like the rock star in the room? You know? They go, hey, there's this Coach Rose over here. Penn State's in the house.
There's a little buzz, but not a buzz that I welcome for sure. And
I know this.
Yeah, and the buzz doesn't come from your peers. It comes from, you know, parents who are thinking that they're volleyball knowledgeable because they're paying for someone to train their kids. So it's more along those lines. They have to sign autographs and take pictures, but you know, I think everything has a shelf life, and that'll move on.
You never have a tendency to look back. You know, it's fun watching you in post-game interviews right after the championship has kind of happened. You enjoy it for a little while, but you always have your eye cast toward the future, the next one, don't you?
Well, I mean, what I enjoy the kids. You know, I enjoy the interactions you have with the kids. I like to sit back and watch them jumping up and down and piling on top of each other and hugging, and you know, I mean, to me, that's the exciting thing. You know, you see them also when they're having to work hard and sweat and cry, and so I mean, it's nice to celebrate their success from a distance more than be the centerpiece for sure.
All right, we're with Russ Rose, who has just completed another marvelous campaign, another national championship season, and we'll get into, you know, what makes a player that makes it click at Penn State in women's volleyball with this unbelievable success. For the Record returns with more after.